Solve the system of equations by substitution. Whenever you are asked to solve a system of equations by substitution, you start out by making sure one of your equations is either solved for x or y. Well, that's not happening right now. You're not solved for x or y. You're not solved for x or y. These are both in standard form. So what I do is I choose the easiest one to do. And for me, the easiest thing to do would be to take that top equation right there and solve it for y. So I have negative 5x plus y equals negative 2. Now, why am I choosing that? Because y has no coefficient. The other guys have coefficients, so y is probably going to be easiest. Now, the way we get y all by itself is we do the opposite of negative 5x, which is add 5x to both sides. So y is now equal to 5x minus 2. Now I did this by rewriting the top equation. Now that I have the top equation, I'm going to replace the bottom equation by plugging in 5x minus 2 into the y down there. So I'm going to write the bottom equation, negative 3x plus 6, and instead of y, I'm going to substitute in 5x minus 2. Close the parentheses, equals negative 12, and we just have a bunch of ugly math right now to deal with. Okay, distributive property, 6 times 5x is 30x. 6 times negative 2 is negative 12. Drop down the negative 3x, drop down the plus sign, drop down the equals, drop down the negative 12. Now, combine like terms on the left. Negative 3x and 30x make 27x minus 12 equals negative 12. Now, this is going to be super convenient, and it's going to look like you did something wrong, but you didn't. I have negative 12 on the left. I also have negative 12 on the right. So in order to get rid of negative 12, you add 12 to both sides, and that makes both of you cross out. So 27x is going to equal 0. Divide both sides by 27. Divide both sides by 27, and x equals nothing. And you might think, oh, I did something wrong. Nope, you're fine. You didn't do anything wrong. 0 is a number. You're allowed to get 0. Now what I have is just x. X is 0. I need a y. How can I find y? Well, didn't I take the top equation and solve it for y a couple minutes ago? I did. So why don't I take that guy right there and replace x with 0 because x is 0. So y equals 5 times 0 minus 2 is going to give me y equals 0 minus 2, and 0 minus 2 is negative 2. Now that I have an x value of 0 and a y value of negative 2, I can put together a point that is 0, negative 2. Now what this means is if I were to label you x and y and plug that into the top equation, the math is going to turn into negative 2, and negative 2 equals negative 2, making it a true statement. If I were to label you x and y and plug it into the bottom equation, the math is going to end up being negative 12 equals negative 12, and that is also a true statement. The solution to a system of equations is a point in xy form that makes both of these true, and 0, negative 2 does that for us. Not the easiest process in the world, but it works.